how far do civil rights protections go?
Not far enough, say advocates for LGBTQ people, who are pushing Congress to include sexual orientation and gender identity in the Civil Rights Act.
Hannah Ehrlich in our Washington Bureau reports on the most recent push.
Discrimination in housing, hiring, lending, even access to a homeless shelter. Advocates say those are more likely to happen to LGBTQ individuals. The solution, say supporters like Alfonso David of the Human Rights Campaign, is passing the Equality Act.
If you're seeking to apply for a mortgage or you're going through the lending process and your vital documents do not actually correspond to your gender expression, you face additional obstacles, which is one of the reasons why we're pushing so hard to pass the Equality Act.
The act would address not just housing, but any form of discrimination by adding sexual orientation and gender identity to the classes protected under the Civil Rights Act. Supporters say federal law is needed to protect people across the country from discrimination. Texas Congressman Al Green has sponsored a bill, the Fair Lending for All Act, that aims specifically at discriminating in home lending, but he supports the broader Equality Act as a necessary nationwide protection.
People who discriminate have to be called out. They have to be dealt with. It's time for us to move to the next level in this fight, and the next level includes criminal penalties for stealing, for the theft of my opportunity to have a loan.
But critics fear that while the Equality Act will protect one community, it may just end up discriminating against a different community. Emily Cow, the director for religion and civil society at the Heritage Foundation, says these sexual orientation and gender identity laws could be used against those with traditional beliefs.
What it does is it creates a sword for the government to punish people who have traditional beliefs, sometimes based on religion, sometimes based on biology, about either marriage or family or just biological sex.
Harper Jean Tobin says those fears are unfounded, and Tobin, the director of policy at the National Center for Transgender Equality, says the threats to LGBTQ people are very real.
This is about a very simple issue. Is it or is it not okay to evict someone, to not sell them a home, to not rent them an apartment because they're transgender, or because their partner or their child is transgender? Most Americans would say that's wrong and we shouldn't allow it.
In Washington, Hannah Ehrlich, Cronkite News.
The Equality Act was a top priority for Democrats after they took back control of the House this year. The bill passed the House back in May on a mostly party line vote, but since then it is stalled in the Senate, where it has gone 6 months without a hearing.